Hey, MathKook here. This video contains one of many examples in my Algebra 2 library. The rest of those examples, along with hundreds of other videos, are only available at mathkook.com. Let's MathKook it up. This question says, solve the inequality x squared is less than or equal to 4x plus 21. So we have a polynomial and an inequality here, and we have a quadratic. So we can't just solve this normally like we would do an equation. So what are the steps for solving a polynomial inequality? Well, step number one, we're going to isolate the expression with a 0 on the other side of the inequality. So we want it to look like this here. So I'm going to bring down our initial inequality. We want to move the 4x and the 21 to the left side. So I'm going to subtract the 4x, subtract the 21 to both sides. On the right side, those cancel. So we're left with x squared minus 4x minus 21, which is less than or equal to 0. All right, next step is to factor. So this is a quadratic, so let's try to factor. What are factors of 21? Well, there's 7 and 3 and 21 and 1. Which of those has a difference? Because the 21 is negative, we need two numbers that have a difference of 4. So those two numbers are 7 and 3. So x. So we know it's going to be 7 and 3. We just need to figure out the signs. Well, since it's negative 4x, we want the bigger one to be negative. So we want the 7 to be negative. So we'll go ahead and put a negative here and a positive here. And the inside is negative 7x, and the outside is positive 3x, which adds up to negative 4x. So we have a winner. All right, so now, step 3, we want to solve for the critical values. And those are the x values that make the top 0 or the bottom 0. Now, in this case, there's only a top, so we only have to worry about setting each of these equal to 0 and solving for x. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll have x minus 7 equals 0, and x plus 3 equals 0. We add the 7 to both sides, we get x equals 7. We subtract the 3 to both sides, and we get x equals 3. So our critical values are x equals 7 and x equals negative 3. All right, step 4. Mark critical values on a number line, then plug in a value in each interval into f of x. And we want to see if those intervals are positive or negative. Here's our number line. So we're going to mark negative 3 and 7 on our number line. All right, next we are going to make our chart here. So I'm going to bring up an XY chart, and we're going to plug in values in each of the intervals. So there's an interval from negative infinity to negative 3 to 7, and from 7 to infinity. So the first number I'm going to plug in is negative 4. Then I'll do 0. 0 is a nice number between these two numbers because it's 0. And then I'll plug in 8 because that's just to the right of 7. So I'll write those on our chart here. So negative 4, 0, and 8. All right, so we can plug these into really this one or this one. I'm going to plug into this one, though, because they're all it's factored out nicely for us. So if I plug in negative 4, I get negative 4 minus 7, which is a negative number. So I'll put negative times, and then negative 4 plus 3 is also a negative number. Notice I don't care about what number it is. I just care about the signs of the numbers. So we'll get a positive when we multiply the negative times the negative. Now we'll plug in 0. 0 minus 7 is also negative. 0 plus 3 is positive. So we have a negative times a positive, which is negative. Next we have 8. 8 minus 7 is positive. 8 plus 3 is also positive. So we have a positive times a positive, which is positive. All right, so now we have a positive, negative, positive. We're going to put those on our number line here. Positive, negative, and positive. All right, so now step 5, we determine which interval or intervals satisfy the inequality. So we want the product of these two factors to be less than or equal to 0. What does that mean, less than or equal to 0? That basically means negative. So we want these to multiply to a negative number. Well, the only negative interval here is this one. So this is the interval that's going to satisfy this inequality. So I'll put a check mark there. So our interval is going to be -3, 7, our answer. So we need to figure out now if there's a parentheses or a bracket around each of these numbers. So let's plug in -3 and find out. If we plug in -3 here, we will get 0 times something is still 0. Is 0 less than or equal to 0? The answer is yes. So because -3 satisfies the inequality, we're going to put a bracket because it's going to include -3. Let's try 7. Plug in 7. 7 minus 7 is 0. 0 times anything is 0. Is 0 less than or equal to 0? Yes. Therefore, 7 satisfies the inequality, so we are going to include 7. So this is our interval of answers that satisfies our inequality here. Hey Kook, if you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. For unlimited access to all of my Algebra 2 videos, visit mathkook.com. Thanks for watching.